I never opened my mouth, and he threw a slander at me that turned out he couldn't back up. But notice his silence about whether he supports Hamas. Now what does his silence tell you? Who's the terrorist supporter? The reason why I'm here, bro, is because of Siraj. Well, that's fine, because from now on, every time Siraj or Sam Dawa interrupts me, I interrupt the Dawa.
And we're arguing about personalities.
You want to argue about an argument I had with someone else?
Let's just shut it down.
Let's
just shut it down.
It is. It's pathetic, bro.
Let's just shut it down. That's an ego shot.
Exactly.
Don't rise to it. Just let's leave it.
All right.
Yeah. If you feel that we're all banging up on you, we'll stop. We'll stop talking.
So,
there we go.
I take on anybody with a decent conversation, but I won't have somebody standing there playing passive aggressive with me, and then want to claim they're victim 1 minute, and next minute machine gunning me with the same tactic that their colleague tried. And when I literally came to him, you have no semblance of what I came to him with. You're not there to talk to me about the common consensus that we agreed upon. You want to talk about what was negative about what we had disagreements on. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? That's it.
No point rising.
You don't want to get anything fruitful from the conversation. You want to come literally and indulge in the debauchery. He said, she said, we said, he said, she said, we said, how you said it, you meant this, you meant that. You're talking about a conversation I had with a grown man and somebody else. What kind of feminine kind of, you understand what I'm saying? What is this? We big men talking.
Are you a Muslim?
Or we're going to argue, or we're going to
Non-denominational.
talk like about solutions.
Is that a Muslim?
No, non-denominational.
What do you mean by non-denominational?
I follow the Bible, that's it.
Are you a Christian?
Right? You could call that.
No, you made
Right. Why do you want to talk to me as a Christian?
Because we can share opinions and share ideas and share views.
Are you like, do you believe in the Trinity and stuff like that?
Yes, I do.
But brother, my advice to you is spend today like reaching out with non-Muslims, non-Christians, speaking to them.
Yes.
Because if me and you get in a long conversation, we're just two Christians taking up one another's time in a Bible study.
Yeah. So you don't want to engage on?
No, it's just not worth my time. It's not worth my time.
Yeah.
We can arrange something for you to have that discussion. He has Bible classes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We can have all that discussion, but not here because
it's just
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a good use of time here.
But you can't answer a simple question. Your colleague just told you, don't do it.
No, I said he was right. I said everything that he said was right.
Don't do it.
No, he
said I'm right.
No, what I said was that this conversation's pointless. It is a pointless conversation. But you're the one continuing it.
What do you mean I'm not upset? I'm defending myself. You're coming with the same energy.
He's actually trying to stop the conversation and you're continuing it.
No,
you are.
I'm admonishing him for his behaviour.
So you're continuing.
No, I'm watching you. He stopped the conversation and now you're continuing the conversation.
Listen.
So how about he stopped?
Go about your business, innit?
There we go.
Go and practice your time.
No hard feelings. Okay, no hard feelings.
You
see?
What you said?
No hard feelings.
Bro, you're just keeping it going.
No hard feelings.
Watch my mouth, it's moving.
You see?
Watch my mouth, it's
so
moving.
everyone can see. I've said third time, no hard feelings.
This is what we got to deal with.
I said no hard feelings.
Watch my mouth.
No hard feelings.
Watch my mouth when I speak.
Yeah, that's hard feelings. That's hard feelings.
Look, see?
Look, just shut it down.
He doesn't want to amend
It's
anything.
this is an ego conversation. You're going to spend an hour talking about one another. It's no point.
Do you redact what you said about
He doesn't
me?
need to.
Yes or no?
No, he doesn't need to because I'm saying he was correct.
Tag team.
I'm saying he was correct.
What is he, a puppy?
Okay, shall we talk about the Quran?
He's got his hand somewhere.
Shall we talk about the
Make
Quran?
your mouth move when he wants.
I said no hard feelings.
All
right, you're going on.
Is he your
okay.
boss? Is he your master?
Speak to him.
I'm asking you.
Did I
have to speak to the
did
boss
I ask him to respond? Did I ask him to respond? He responded, and you're not saying anything.
I chose to respond.
You serve him or the Most High? Which one?
So you said there's black men committing violence out there.
Yes.
I'm choosing to refrain from conversation because it's done. So now we'll see if you can be an example to everyone else.
Conversation in Speaker's Corner.
That is the best way.
Oh, so now he wants me to speak. He's complaining when I speak. Now when I don't speak, you're complaining that I don't speak. Which one is it?
You're talking at me. There's a big
No.
difference.
Okay, I would like to talk to you.
Well, is it going to be a three-way thing? Shall I get some backup or what?
You're playing the
bring in the
victim.
backup. Bring in the backup.
You're playing the victim.
Bring in the backup. Bring in the backup.
You play the
Listen,
victim.
my conversation that I would have with you is this.
Yeah.
The same thing I tried to talk to your colleague about.
Right.
Categorically speaking, for me, there needs to come a time when the Christians and the Muslims, they come together as a collective to pray to the Most High.
No.
See again, you won't let me speak without
No, bro.
You see,
No.
the man is, you see, and then he's going to claim.
Right, I'm just not going to talk to him. Paperboy, honestly, I'd advise you not to talk to this guy. Because he's
Very
the thing
difficult
is,
to...
the thing is, he's just going to, anytime you challenge him, he's just going to present himself as a victim.
I know.
Right? And what he's trying to do, actually, I personally think, he's just trying to rile people up. So my advice to you is don't let him get to your ego, bro. Right? He doesn't want to have a conversation. Yeah? He's got his crowd now. That's what he wanted all along.
I know. It's not sincere.
He's got his crowd. That's what he wanted. And he used you to get it.
But nothing to mention about the fact that they are making you see this he specifically says prevent understand what the British government are doing. You understand what I'm saying? They're not here to come and testify to their belief in Moses. They come to here to destroy the character of the Muslims. They cannot touch the Quran. They cannot touch it. They cannot put a hole in it. They can't talk about drilling holes in the Quran physically. This is what they're relating to. This is what they're resulting to. Because they have no argument against it. The truth is the truth, no matter what they do to it.
You can see it.
Yeah, you too.
The character of the believers.
What's this conversation about?
I think it was about the adopted marriage of Zainab.
That go back to people who claim this event has been historically fact.
7109.
No, it was removed from the
See what I mean? He's just trying to incite people. He's just trying to incite people.
Young black men like you
Wait, you're coming back now to start an argument because he's my brother in Christ and you're being aggressive right now. He's tried to end the conversation and now you're bringing it back with agitation.
You're not my master.
No, not of course.
Yeah,
and
so
today, well, if I want to
whatever
talk
he
to
is
you, I want to talk to you then.
Is your colleague, your servant, which one?
No, he's my brother in Christ and he's my
Brother in-
equal.
Okay, brother in Christ.
Yeah.
There are black men like you on a daily basis. What's the time now? What's the time? The time now is 2:14. By the time we finish the conversation, another one is gone.
And you're not helping. You're not helping right now.
Tag team.
You're not helping.
You know, like WWE when he's watching the
He
WWE.
tried to end the
and then
conversation.
The other guy comes, jumps in.
So I have a question for Muslims, right? The Quran claims to be free of contradiction, okay? So I would like, and it says in the Quran, it says that do they not consider the Quran carefully? And if it were from any other than Allah, they would find contradictions within it. Well, I've got a contradiction to present to you, and I would like to invite you to consider the Quran with me to see if there is a contradiction in the Quran. Okay? So who would like to do that? No? Exactly. They don't. They don't.
Just ruined your own effort.
So here we go.
They can see
Here we
your
go.
bad manners, bro. They don't
Why?
want nothing to do with
So,
There's no
in Surah
discussion
106, it says this.
If there
It says
was some
this.
semblance of
If
decency about
indeed
it,
thou
then
hast
indulge
come
in
with
it.
a sign, show it forth. Then Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent plain for all to see. And he drew out his hand, and behold, it was white to all beholders. Okay, and then it says, said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. So I got some simple questions. Can anyone tell me what's happening in that passage that I've just read? Does anyone know? Yeah, this is correct. Sorry? Well, I believe that. I believe his scripture isn't true. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian. But what I'm asking is, what's happening in this text that I just read to you? How many Muslims do we have that can hear my voice? Okay, so
very well
honestly.
I don't have a lot of knowledge on the subject because I'm still learning, but I'd like to hear the person.
Sure. What's your name?
Romy.
Romy?
Yeah.
Right, Romy. My name's Bob. Nice to meet you, Romy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to read 2 passages.
No worries.
I'm going to ask the same 3 questions of each passage.
Okay.
There are no gotcha moments, there's no trick questions. It's simple, basic English literature test. Can you follow what a text says, and can you glean information from the text? And that's all it is. Yeah, right. So,
I think you're asking questions.
So what it says, are you listening?
Yeah.
So I'll read it from verse 106. Pharaoh said, if indeed thou hast come with a sign, show it forth. If thou tellest the truth, then Moses threw down his rod, and behold, it was a serpent plain for all to see. And he drew out his hand, and behold, it was white to all beholders. Okay? Sorry, bear with us. Fingertips are cold, can't turn the pages. Sorry. Okay? And then in this verse it says, said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. Okay? So my first question is, do you know what's happening in this passage? Are you aware of what's going on?
Kind of read through it again.
Yeah, of course. Take your time.
No worries. Thank you.
Why are you shouting, man? Why are you shouting?
Tells the truth. If Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent plain for all to see, and drew out his hand, and behold, it was white to all the beholders. Can you go on to the next page?
Yeah, of course. So no. My first question to you, because remember I promised you I would only ask you 3 questions about the text, and I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions about both texts. So my first, shall we move this way a bit?
No, because I don't want to be on camera.
Okay. I mean, JC, focus the camera on me, bro. The lady doesn't want to be on camera. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Right. So,
I want to leave the thing because I don't want any of my voice and any of the camera on me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Respectfully, I'm gonna
Right,
leave
that's
it.
fine. I'll find someone else to talk to about it then. So, bro, are you a Muslim?
I'm a Muslim, proud Muslim.
Okay, brilliant. So you've heard me read the passage twice.
Yes.
Do you know what that passage is saying? What it's about? Okay, shall we read it again then?
You can read it, but I don't have enough knowledge to answer you. So
there's no trick questions. There's
can
honestly
try.
no trick questions. If you think that there's a trick question, you can say, I think that's a trick question.
Okay.
Okay? So the passage is, just so you can read it, I don't know if you can read the Arabic. It says, Pharaoh said, if indeed thou hast come with a sign, show it forth. If thou tellest the truth, then Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent plain for all those to see. And he drew out his hand, and behold, it was white to all beholders. Said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. So my question is, do you know what's going on in this paragraph? What's happening in what we've just read?
Not really.
Really? You couldn't pick it up from that?
No.
Okay, so let's go through it very slowly then, and we'll piece it all together.
Yes.
Okay? So Pharaoh, who's Pharaoh?
Pharaoh, I know the Pharaoh.
So you know who the Pharaoh is. Pharaoh said, if indeed thou hast come with a sign, show it forth, if thou tellest the truth. So what's happening in that verse?
Explain.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, explain because
Okay, well,
I don't understand.
You don't understand that?
Yes.
Do you not understand English?
You're from Belgium.
Fair enough, fair enough. So what's happening in this verse is Pharaoh is saying to Moses,
Yes.
if you've got a sign to show to prove that you're coming from God, show it.
Yes.
Do you think I'm being fair?
Yes.
There we go. You think I'm being fair. Next verse.
Nee, dat is toch waar? Die zag zeg maar hoe kan je bewezen?
You see, I think they do actually understand. No. They do understand because they've just confirmed it to one another in Arabic. Yeah. Then Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent plain for all to see. What's going on in that passage?
Explain.
You don't understand?
I'm asking you. Explain.
Okay, I'll understand. Do you want to explain? Okay. So I'll explain, and then you tell me if you think I'm being fair to the passage. So Moses throws down his walking staff, and it turns into a serpent, and everyone sees it. Am I being fair to the passage?
Yes.
Right, so I've been fair twice. Okay. Next one. Verse 108. And he drew out his hand, and behold, it was a white to all beholders. Do anyone want to explain, or shall I explain that one as well? Do you want to explain? I'm giving you all a chance so you don't think I'm being unfair. Okay, so what's happening is Moses is now showing a second sign, and what he's doing is he's taking his hand out of his cloak, and his hand is white with age. He's been aged and into an elderly hand. Am I being fair? Am I being fair? Yeah. Am I being fair to the passage?
Continue.
What?
Can you continue?
Am I being fair to this passage, this verse?
I'm just listening.
Well, I'm asking you, am I being fair? Because you're saying you don't understand.
Like, I want just to hear what
Okay, I'll talk to you then, because you can listen. So far I've been fair to everything I've read. Okay? Next verse. Said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. Right, do you want to explain that passage?
Well, they claimed they was a magician.
Yes, they did. Who claimed that they were a magician? Pharaoh's people. And who particularly amongst Pharaoh's people? The chiefs. Right? So the chiefs have said, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. Right? So how many people have we got speaking? Shall we take a step back this way?
Are you a Muslim?
No, I'm a Christian. Yeah, let's take a step back this way. So, thank you very much. Right.
Let me shoot from the back.
Okay, he's going to shoot from behind you, so your face doesn't appear on camera, and he's only going to look at me.
I want to shoot him from the back, so you don't face.
Don't put him on camera. Okay. So far what we've got is that Moses is speaking to Pharaoh, Pharaoh is speaking to Moses, and then the chief priests say, you're a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Is that a fair summary?
Fair, yeah.
Okay, right. Let's go to this passage. Well, I'm going to show you. Okay? Right, so we're reading from now Surah 26. Okay? Right, and we'll start up here. Pharaoh said, show it then, if thou tellest the truth. So Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent plain for all to see. Okay, so what's happening there?
It's the same thing again.
It's the same thing. Yeah. So this is the same event, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Okay? And he drew out his hand, and behold, it was white to all beholders.
Same thing, yeah.
Same thing, because it's the same event, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay? But then it says, Pharaoh said to the chiefs around him, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. Yeah. So, who said what here?
Pharaoh said it.
Pharaoh, and who did he say it to?
To the chiefs.
Right.
Correct.
But what does the other surah? Yes.
It means that the chiefs agreed with what Pharaoh said.
No, hold on one second. Where does it say that they had an agreement?
Well, basically that's what it's telling you. We're both agreed on the same terms.
Let's have a look at that. Let's actually see if that's what the text says. Okay? Like, because you've agreed so far that I've only tried to be fair to what the text is saying, haven't you? Yeah? And I'm not trying to lie. I'm not trying to manipulate the text. All I'm doing is reading the text and seeing that there's a contradiction. Now let me explain what the contradiction is, right? Now, you yourself recognise that when I read this passage, and when I read this passage, I was reading the same event. It was the same story, right? But in this passage, right, in Surah 1, in Ayah 109, it says that the chiefs of the people said to Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed.
Chiefs of the people.
Yeah.
Not said.
Yes, said the chief. No, it says said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh.
Not to Pharaoh.
Yes.
Yes, they didn't say it to Pharaoh.
So
they said it.
Who would in the royal court? Who would
that they agree in the same terms? Pharaoh and his people.
No, it doesn't say that. Where does it say? Where does it say? Where does it say they said it to one another?
Okay, so what are you trying to prove? I don't get it.
So my point is, you've got a contradiction in your Quran. I'm going to show you.
If they agree with Pharaoh,
according to this passage,
what the Quran is telling you, the people, this
what's your name?
Ishmael.
Ishmael. Yeah. Let's keep it cool. Yeah, there's no need for us to talk over one another.
No, sorry.
So it's Sunday, it's cold. I don't know about you, but my fingers are already starting. It's all right, it's all right. So let's keep it cool. Yeah. I'll speak. Let me say my bit, and then you say your bit. Or if you want, I'll let you speak first, and then I'll reply.
You speak first.
Okay. So it says here that the chief priests, now they're the chiefs to Pharaoh, so one would assume that they're going to direct their comments to Pharaoh because it's the royal court. Okay? I'll grant you, it doesn't say to Pharaoh. I'm not going to quibble over that. Right? But it says that the chiefs of the people said, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. But in exactly the same story, in verse 26, it's talking about exactly the same event. It says, Pharaoh said to the chiefs, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. So this is the same story, but the words have been put into two different people's mouths.
But they're saying both the two people agree at the same time.
It doesn't say that. Okay.
Have you carried on reading it?
Right. Well.
Okay. So what does it say? Who followed Moses? It was the magicians.
When you say they followed, what do you mean?
As in they said that we believe in the God of Moses.
Right, go on.
Who said that? It was the magicians. It was the magicians.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Pharaoh, yeah, go on,
let's have a look. Okay, because what I'm looking
not
for...
sure exactly what surah and ayah, but I know it by listening to it.
Yeah, sure. But my point to you, what you need to show me in the text is that something that suggests that Pharaoh and the chiefs agree about this statement. And there's nothing in the text that says that.
Look.
Yeah.
What does that say?
It says, but the sorcerers fell down and prostrated in adoration. Saying, we believe in the Lord of the worlds, the Lord of Moses and Aaron.
Now, what did
Said Pharaoh, believe ye in him before I give you permission? Surely this is a trick.
There you go.
Right.
So these chiefs and Pharaoh were both, the chiefs would say what Pharaoh told them to say because it was fear. It was scared of Pharaoh.
Yeah.
You understand what
right.
I mean?
So
both of them have the same answer.
Yeah.
Because of fear of Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Pharaoh was the king at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nothing says here Pharaoh and the chief said to Pharaoh.
No, it literally. Hold on 1 second. This passage, right? If you just read these passages synoptically. No, but the point is, right? So let me reply to that, Ismail, because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the problem with your argument, the reason why your argument doesn't help the Quran, is because your argument is the continuation of the story. So the narrative has moved forward.
Exactly.
Right.
So for your understanding.
That's right. But the problem is, if you go to the bit where the narratives are identical, the details change, and that is a contradiction.
About what Pharaoh said and what his chief said. Well, so you know what his people said and what Pharaoh said.
But if
not just telling you what one of them said.
So, brother, if I say that you know Mansour said that all Christians are going to burn in hell, right? As part of some statement about an argument that I had with Mansour. And then the next day I came back to you and talking about that same argument. Talking about that same argument, I then said, Muhammad Hijab said that all Christians are going to burn in hell. Right? One of the first things that you would have done is go, well, no, yesterday you said it was Mansour that said that, and now you're saying it's Hijab that said that.
Or you could take it as both of them agree on the same terms.
Right. But if I'm telling the same story, and I'm changing the detail of the story...
Where was the details changed?
So I've just shown it to you. Here it says
Pharaoh... The people were different, showing you what both the people said.
Right. So should I understand then that when you hear Muslims... point out what we call synoptic differences in the Gospels that are similar to this, you're going to turn to those Muslims and say, no, that's not a contradiction in the Bible.
But this is not really a contradiction, though.
So no.
Where is the contradiction?
So if you're
not a knowledgeable person,
that is fine. That is fine. But it was very civil of you to stop and talk, and I very much. I understand. I just don't think your argument works.
Okay. Well,
all
go
right.
back to the Bible. See if you see more contradictions.
Well, I mean, the point is, I don't see any contradictions.
Look into the Quran.
I am very much so. Very much so. I am. All right. Have a good day. God bless. Take care, Ismail. Any questions on what you heard, guys? So basically, to try and actually take the heat out of Paperboy's conversation and to try and just cool that whole situation down, I started to talk about a contradiction I found in the Quran. Muslims will often challenge Christians about the synoptic differences between the synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark and Luke, and the Gospel of John. And they'll say, look, your details are different in these stories, it's a contradiction, therefore the Bible is not true and can't be trusted. But taking their example of what a contradiction is, I've applied it to a story in the Quran that is covered twice. And it's an identical story that has a very clear contradiction. So my argument is essentially that if you're going to say that the Bible can't be trusted because of the contradictions you found in the Bible, then you should be consistent and say that the Quran can't be trusted because of the contradictions in the Quran.
Right.
It's only fair, right?
Yeah.
It's logical, right?
Yeah.
It's a fair standard. Now, the problem is,
Yeah.
when we point out this contradiction in the Quran, the Muslims use exactly the same defense that Christians use when we're defending the Gospels. They use exactly the same kind of defense. They synergize the stories. That's what they do. But when we do it to defend our Bible, they tell us that it's wrong, that it's a contradiction. So what they're simply saying is that we've got one rule for your Bible and another rule for the Quran. We're going to hold the Bible to a higher standard than you can hold the Quran to. And if we defend the Quran using exactly the same logic that you do to defend the Bible, when we use it, it's a good defense. But when you use it, it's a bad defense. And this is the kind of double standards that we see in the park all the time. Like, Muslims have no answer to this.
Nothing.
Now here's where the rubber really meets the road.
Okay.
The defense that Christians use work because we believe that the Holy Bible is a book of human production. Oh, hello. Something's going off with our brother. It's amazing how the police are not so swift when it comes to Muslims interfering with Christians. You know, never so swift.
We know exactly what.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
So we've got a problem. But our defense of the Bible makes sense when you believe, as Christians believe, that the Bible was man's inspired words. But the same defense does not defend the Quran from this contradiction, because Muslims believe that these are Allah's words. And so the same defense can't work for both books. And so this is why this is a contradiction in the Quran, because Allah is literally getting the facts wrong. From one telling of the same story to the next telling of the same story. Any questions?
Yeah, can you repeat that example?
Yes. You want me to give you an example? Oh, by the way, if you want to come in and see this, I'll show it to you. So I'm going to read a passage, and I'm going to ask the same 3 questions of both passages. There are no trick questions. There are no gotcha moments. There's just simple questions of comprehension. Can you understand what the text is saying? Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to do. Right? So my first question, I'll say it to you now so you can pick up the answer as I read it. The first question is, what's happening in the text? Who is talking to who? What are they talking about? That's the first question. So Moses said, O Pharaoh, I am a messenger from the Lord of the worlds, one for whom it is right to say nothing but truth about Allah. Now have I come unto you, people, from your Lord with a clear sign, so let the children of Israel depart along with me. Pharaoh said, if indeed thou hast come with a sign, show it forth, if thou tellest the truth. Then Moses threw down his rod, and behold, it became a serpent. And then he drew his hand out of his cloak, and behold, it became white for all to see. Then the chiefs of the people said to Pharaoh, this indeed is a well-versed sorcerer. Right. Question number 1. That's in Surah 7. If you want to come and stand here, bro, you're more than welcome. That's in Surah 7. Reading from Ayah... Where did I start reading that from? Hold on. Reading from I started reading at ayah 104. So what's going on there? Moses has come to Pharaoh in that classic Hollywood moment about the 10 Commandments and said to Pharaoh, let my people go. And then Pharaoh has said, if you're truly a prophet, show me some miracles to show me that this is a message from God. And then Moses chucks his rod down and it becomes a serpent, and he pulls his hand out and it becomes white. And then the chiefs of Pharaoh accuse Moses of being nothing but a sorcerer. Have I been fair to the text? Yes, I've been fair to the text, haven't I? Thank you very much. Brother, hold your horses. If you start to heckle, I'll start to debate you, and I'll stand there. Right, so I've been fair to the text. How many people are recorded in the passage that I read talking? That's question number 3. I don't think I need to reread it. Moses, Pharaoh, and the chiefs of Moses. Have I been fair to the text? Is that how many parties are talking in the text? Yes. Who said these words? Who said these words? Said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. Who said those words? The chiefs. He got it. Did you hear that? Chiefs, do you agree? Is he correct? Yes. So he's correct. It is the chiefs that said it. Now let us compare the same story but as told in Surah 26. Listen. Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent, plain for all to see. And he drew out his hand, and behold, it was white to all beholders. Pharaoh said to the chiefs around him, this is indeed a well-versed sorcerer. Did you hear the difference? Yes. Who said, this is indeed a well-versed sorcerer in Surah 7? The chiefs. Who said, this is indeed a well-versed sorcerer in Surah 26? Pharaoh. Who's right? Surah 26 or Surah 7? Who said those words? The chiefs to Pharaoh or Pharaoh to the chiefs? This is a contradiction in your Quran. And if it is not a contradiction, stand here and defend it. Surah 26, Ayah 34, compared to Surah 7, Ayah 109. To be clear, the reason why I'm showing this contradiction is this. Because in Surah 4 of the Quran, it says, consider the Quran carefully. If the Quran was from any other than Allah, you would find contradictions in it. So the Quran has set itself the golden standard and has said, if you can find contradictions in this book is not from Allah. Well, I've just passed the test and the Quran has flunked. This is a contradiction. More to prove my point, Muslims use exactly this logic to attack the Bible. So if they're saying that this kind of contradiction exists in the Bible, where the details have been changed, then they're admitting that this is a contradiction in their Quran. So what would you like to say to that?
Do you know what a contradiction is?
Yes.
When two things go against each other.
Correct.
Okay, so where have they gone against each other?
Right, so he didn't understand. Did you understand where they went against one another?
They didn't.
Madam, did you understand? Brother, did you understand? Sister, did you understand? So 4 people understood, but this brother didn't get it. So now let me explain it to answer your question. Where do the 2 stories contradict one another? It is exactly the same event. It is exactly the same story in the life of Moses,
But in one version of this exact same event in the life of Moses, the Quran says Pharaoh said to the chiefs around him, "This is indeed a sorcerer well versed." But in Surah 7, Ayah 109, those exact words are said by the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh to Pharaoh. So, did you hear what they did? They said, oh, they both said it.
No, I said could have.
Could have. Well, did they or didn't they?
No, that text doesn't say that only one said it. Only.
Where does it say both said it?
So that's not a contradiction, then, is it?
Where does it say both said it?
No, that's not a contradiction.
Now, notice what he's done. That's exactly what Christians do to show that the synoptic differences of the Gospels are not contradictions. But when we use that argument, they say it's not true. Remember, Allah is telling the same story twice, and he's getting the details wrong. Show me in either passage that they both said it to one another. Show me. Work together as a team. What?
That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Explain why.
Because you're saying that one said it in one passage,
which is true.
The other said it in the other passage.
Yes, which is true.
Me in the first passage that Pharaoh didn't say it, and the second passage that the chiefs didn't say it.
Right.
Then it would be a contradiction.
So I'm going to show to you. I'm going to show to you that the passages are talking about the same event. Right?
That's not why I asked.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, because, ladies and gentlemen,
Don't ask me a question
no,
if you're going to answer your own question.
if you're going to defend this passage, yes, my position is defended, so you have no answer then, do you? Who said it? Was it Pharaoh, or was it the chief? Was it the chiefs of Pharaoh?
You need to prove that the chiefs didn't say it.
No,
it's not a contradiction.
no, hold on one second. You've got to show me that in either passage they both said it. All I've done is reverse his logic. He's demanding that I show him in either passage that the other person didn't say it. Well, logically, I can ask these two, well, show me in the same passages that both of them said it. Now, if he can't demonstrate his argument, and he can't evidence his argument, why does he think he's disproven my argument by using that logic?
Not disproving, you need to prove your argument.
He has used a logic, and the logic is flawed. The logic states that I need to show in either passage that neither person said it. But the passage itself is clear about who said what. In Surah 7, it's very clear. The person that said the words are the chiefs of Pharaoh. In Surah 26, the passage is very clear. The person that said it was Pharaoh himself. That is a contradiction. You need to show me from that passage that both people said it, and you can't.
Yeah, we can.
Show me. Go on then. You said you can do it.
So in the first passage,
yeah, go on.
They said it. The second passage, Pharaoh said it. The same incident, both of them said it.
No. So what he's doing, he's taking these two accounts and he's synergizing them. So Christians, you now know that this is a perfectly acceptable defense of the synoptic contradictions of the gospel. Right? However, what he has basically done is tell a third story that is not found in the Quran. What he has done is to tell a third story that neither passage of the Quran tells.
You put them together.
Why doesn't Allah put them together?
Because he gave us the brain to do it.
So what you're doing is creating a third story from the Quran that the Quran does not give you. So you're saying something that the Quran doesn't to get the Quran out of a contradiction.
Okay, listen,
that's what you're doing.
If the second passage negated the first passage,
which it does,
no, how does it negate the second?
Because it says Pharaoh said to the chiefs around him, "This is indeed a sorcerer well versed." Yes, it's the same story. It's the same story. It's contradicting.
No, is it adding or negating?
It's contradicting. Your question is flawed to the argument.
No, listen.
Yes, your question is not marrying up to the argument.
The first passage gives you a part of the story.
No, it gives you...
The second passage gives you a second part of the story.
No.
You add them together.
Listen to them carefully.
Forget about that.
Listen to them carefully.
But until you find me that...
Listen to them carefully.
Coping and you need to try harder.
Listen to them carefully. Listen to them carefully. Look, no, you can tell it's the same event in the narrative. Listen. Listen. Listen.
If it's the same story, it's adding to the story.
Listen. No, it's the same event. Listen. And it's the same moment in the same story. I'm trying to, but you keep interrupting. I'm trying to, you keep interrupting.
Give me one word of negation.
Listen, I'm going to. Yes, I'm going to. Right. So, let's just do this carefully and logically.
You answer my question and then we'll worry about
it. Right, I'm going to answer your question directly then, since you don't want to do the thinking thing. I'll just use the brute force thing. Here's the word of negation. In Ayah 34, Surah 26, it says, Pharaoh said to the chiefs around him, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. This negates and contradicts Surah 7, Ayah 109,
that's not negation.
Where it says,
do you understand what negation
said the chiefs of the people of Pharaoh, this is indeed a sorcerer well versed. Now I'm going to ask you a question. What I want you to answer me on, I want you to answer me on where is this?
That's a
yes,
negation.
Yes.
But if A and B happen,
yes,
and then A, B, and C
yes,
happen,
yes.
that's not negation.
If A contradicts B, if A contradicts B, if A contradicts B, that is a contradiction.
My friend, you tried. You tried, but you need to try harder. Listen.
You can't have a logical conversation.
From the beginning,
so why, ladies and gentlemen, is it the same event? Why is it the same event?
He's trying hard, but
why is it the same event? Look, bro, are we done? Are we done? Okay. Right. Are we done? Shall we do it? No, let's do it one more time. Then Moses threw his rod, and behold, it was a serpent plain for all to see. No, you didn't listen to me for 2 seconds. So, answer this question. What happens in Ayah 107? 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 So Siraj is bringing... No, I won't debate Siraj.
Why?
I won't debate Siraj because the man has no manners and I don't wish to debate him.
I'm
not going to debate. Follow me, Siraj. Follow me, Siraj. Siraj, follow me. Follow me, Siraj.
We want to listen.
Siraj, follow me. Follow me, Siraj.
Jesus the Messiah. At that time.
Are you really lying?
Yes.
No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. I'm not debating. I'm not debating.
Why
no.
Put on camera. Why are you not debating?
So the reason why I won't debate Siraj, the reason why I won't debate Siraj is because the guy is too immature to have a sensible conversation. He's incredibly rude. He's interrupted, and there you go. I mean, this is the kind of behaviour that we have to put up with in the pot. Now the point is, Siraj has regularly interrupted conversations that I've tried to have, and for that reason, I won't debate him. And that's it. JC, I'm not debating. I'm not interested. Not interested. I'm not interested. Not interested. You couldn't. Why are you pushing? 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 Clown.
Nobody's
Clown.
Chill out.
Don't waste your energy with trolls.
Yeah, I'm not going to waste my energy with the trolls. I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to waste my energy with the trolls.
Yeah, okay, cool. So
okay.
Let's go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we saw there is that we showed a contradiction in the Quran using the logic that Muslims use. Right? This is a logic that Muslims use in their attacks against the Bible.
I'm not going
Siraj, we're not interested, Siraj.
I'm not going to insult
and this is exactly why I won't debate him. Follow me, Siraj. Siraj, follow me. Follow me, Siraj. Siraj, follow me. Siraj.
things in nature that we see here are only but a glimpse of what paradise looks like. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, it is beyond your imagination. I don't speak to terrorist sympathisers.
No, that's a bit of a slur. Sorry, where is your evidence that I'm a terrorist sympathiser?
I'll give you
Where's your evidence? Sorry. Where is your evidence? Sorry. That's a slur. No. Where's your evidence that I'm a terrorist sympathiser? Hold on one second.
No.
Hold on
No,
one
you
second.
talk to me. I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Hold on one second.
I'm here.
Hold on one second. Sorry. I'm sorry. Is that fair to speak to people like that? He's just slandered you in front of me, and he's not allowed me to defend myself. If I had accused him of being a terrorist sympathiser, would people not be saying I'm an Islamophobe? Right? He's just accused me of being a terrorist sympathiser because I'm a Christian. How is that not
because of me, you being a
right? That's a wild accusation. That's a wild accusation.
I don't believe all Christians are terrorists.
Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence, please, for that slur? Where's your evidence, please, for that slur?
I don't believe all Christians are terrorists. He's lying. He said he called me a terrorist because of...
No, sorry. You've just accused me of being a terrorist sympathiser. Which terrorist have I sympathised with, please?
I'll give you the example.
I'll give you an... Now, bearing in mind that these are just accusations. Evidence is not an accusation. Evidence would be something like he produces a video or an article in which I voice support for terrorism. So could you do that for us? Yeah, go on.
I'm going to answer Bob, and then Bob is going to go away.
No, I'm not.
After I finish.
No, I'm not.
Because I'm going to continue my
conversation. No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Why is he going?
I'm not going anywhere.
He runs away from me and he comes to you, brother.
Bob is on record.
Well, show the record. Show the record.
On video.
Show the video.
At Speaker's Corner.
Show the video.
Where he said,
accusations.
Accepted it.
Let him finish.
I believe in muscular Christianity.
Is that support for terrorism?
No!
Did anyone here support for terrorism? No! Right, go on. Go on. Yeah, we're hearing the support for terrorism.
Then he qualified that statement by saying that he talked about the Serbs,
yes,
who committed genocide against the Muslims,
no,
including rape,
lies.
We got the video.
Lies.
We got the video.
Show the video.
We got the video.
Firstly, that was a war.
I haven't finished.
And the Serbs were fighting to defend their land from KLA terrorists that were forcing Serbs out of their villages and desecrating churches.
Can you allow him to speak?
Calm down. Drink less coffee. Drink less coffee.
Who were the second? Sheikh, please. That he quoted.
So the first one was a lie. No terrorist act. It was a war. Give you another example. Give another example.
Can you speak about this?
Do you support Hamas? Do you support Hamas?
Do you support Israel?
Do you support Hamas?
Be quiet. Be quiet.
Do you support Hamas?
Be quiet or go away.
No. Do you support Hamas?
Do you support Israel? Have you support Israel?
Go on. Give us another false evidence.
The second person he said were the Lebanese. The Lebanese phalange are well known
in a civil war.
Here we go.
The Lebanese Christians were fighting for their survival in the Lebanese civil war.
Israel destroyed their country.
Islamist groups were trying to wipe them out. So not terrorists there either. Now answer my question. Do you support Hamas?
Do you support Israel?
Do you support Hamas?
International community.
Do you support Hamas?
International community.
Do you support Hamas?
Go away.
Do you support Hamas?
Go away.
Do you support Hamas? Do you support Hamas?
Do you support Israel?
Do you support Hamas? Well, do you? Is Hamas right for fighting Israel? Is Hamas right for fighting Israel?
Is Israel right?
Is Hamas right for supporting Israel?
Is Israel right?
Condemn Hamas. Condemn Hamas.
Getting my nerves now.
Say you don't support Hamas. Say you don't support
Do you
Hamas.
support Israel?
Say you don't support Hamas. Say you don't support Hamas.
Do you support Israel?
Say you don't support Hamas.
Do you support Israel?
Say you don't support Hamas.
Do you support Israel?
Say you don't support Hamas.
Do you support Israel?
Say you don't support Hamas.
Coward. I'm here. This guy, I'm here. He believes his God is 3 persons in one, but the God of Jesus is only one. Who is the way and the truth?
Say you don't support
His
Hamas.
God is 3 persons in one.
No.
But the God of
I'll tell
Jesus
you
is
what,
only
when
one
Siraj
person.
goes away, I'll go away.
I'm here. I'm here.
Take him away, please. Take the dogs away. Please.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going with you, Siraj.
I'm here.
He's not leaving, so I'm not leaving.
I'm asking.
So, Siraj.
I'm asking. Yes. No. I'm asking. Jesus called
Are you a Hamas
Jesus
supporter?
called me a dog and swat.
Are you a Hamas supporter?
Are you Israel
I'm
terrorist
asking you,
supporter?
do you support
Are you
Hamas?
Israel terrorist supporter?
Do you support Hamas? I'm staying here for as long as Siraj is here.
Your channel is full of terrorists.
Take him away. Yes.
No, I'm not going with him. I'm not leaving until Siraj leaves.
I don't want to have a conversation.
Well, I'm just staying here then.
Jesus called you swine and pigs. What are you talking about?
Don't.
Jesus said, do not go where the
We're here because of
Samaritans
Siraj.
and Gentiles are.
I'm not leaving until
Jesus
Siraj
said,
goes
do
away.
not go where
So when
Samaritans-
Siraj leaves, I'll leave.
Okay, you're going to
That's
leave.
the deal.
Okay, now, okay, yeah.
No, I'm not going with him.
Take him.
You're still there, Siraj.
But you said Siraj goes
Why you can't
away.
speak to him?
Take him.
He's scared.
Speak to him.
Come preach me. Come preach me.
This is the face of Christianity.
Look,
Really?
This is the face
Really?
of
I never opened my mouth,
This is the face
and he
of
threw a slander at me that turned out he couldn't back up. But notice his silence about whether he supports Hamas. Notice his silence. Would you like him to answer that question, ladies and gentlemen?
terrorist state.
They want to know if you support Hamas.
Israel, the terrorist state.
Do you support Hamas?
Talk. Do you support Israel,
Do you
the
support
terrorist
Hamas?
state? Do you support Israel, the terrorist state?
Looks like me and you are going to have a long day.
The terrorist state. The one who
That's
crucified
fine.
the Christian God.
That's fine.
The one who
Yeah.
crucified
Now
the
notice the
Christian God.
behaviour.
Who is terrorist?
He
The one who
accuses you
crucified
randomly with no evidence of supporting terrorism. Why? Because I'm a critic of Islam and because I support Christians who are persecuted by Muslim terrorists. Muslim terrorists, incidentally, but he will not condemn. Hamas persecutes the Christians of Lebanon, and he will not condemn them.
Who crucified
Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen,
Israel?
furthermore,
Israel.
he says that I am a dog. Why? Because I stood here and challenged him to prove his false accusation.
You support Israel.
And did he prove it?
You support
No, he did
Israel
not.
terrorism. Yes.
Let him follow you. Let him follow you.
I'm not
he
going to
can't.
follow him.
He's coward.
But I'm not leaving you
He's
until he
here
leaves
to
me.
preach, but he cannot preach.
I don't care. It doesn't bother
Then
me.
we're all stood here all day then, aren't we? Then we're all stood here all day.
This is the face of Christianity.
So I just for your viewers,
This is the face of Christianity.
the reason why I'm doing this is because Siraj interrupts Christians talking in the park. Siraj regularly interrupts Christians talking in the park, and that's why I came to stand here. But you are my witnesses. I didn't say anything until I was addressed. Is that correct?
No, you come to.
You know it's true. I never said a word until he addressed me directly and said I don't speak to terrorist sympathizers. Do you support Hamas?
I don't need to answer that question.
Why are you scared of that question?
I'm not scared at all. You want it scared?
Yes, you do. You do because you're frightened of answering the
I'm
question.
not frightened at all.
Why are you frightened of supporting Hamas? Why are you frightened? You know,
I don't need to answer the
what
question.
does silence mean?
You do. I don't need
Doesn't silence mean consent in Islamic culture? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because if someone proposes to someone and they don't say no, their silence means consent. So when I said, do you support Hamas? And your silence means consent.
Do you support the Israeli terrorists, the ones who killed your God Jesus?
Is that true?
Do you accept that?
I don't support Israel.
Do you support? You don't
There
support
you go.
Israel? Oh.
There you go. I don't support Israel.
You don't support Israel.
Exactly. I don't support Israel. He didn't see that coming, did he, ladies and gentlemen? Didn't see that coming.
Can I finish my conversation with the lady, please?
Yeah. Okay.
You can just take it away.
No, I'm not moving.
Saraj, if you go, doesn't matter. You go.
Don't leave him
I go.
alone.
You go.
And you ignore him.
I ignore him.
Yeah,
You ignore him.
If you go, we go.
He's coward.
Listen.
But when he comes back, listen to my words. Listen to my words. When he comes back to me, I come back to you. When he comes back to me, I come back to you. Until Siraj learns some manners, this is the new rule in the park. Until Siraj learns some manners, this is the new rule in the park.
You walk away and then we walk away from
But when he comes back, I come back to you.
This is the face of Christianity.
How to reference? He gave me.
This is the face of Christianity.
No, this is the face of Islam. A man who can't even admit whether he supports Hamas or not. But let's be clear, Hamas is a real terrorist organisation that says when it's finished with the Jews in Israel, it will go after the Jews around the world. And this man can't even condemn them. Now what does his silence tell you? Who's the terrorist supporter? Who's the terrorist supporter?
This is the face of Christianity.
The reason why I'm here, bro, is because of Siraj.
This is the desperation.
The reason why I'm here, bro, is because of Siraj.
I don't care.
Well, that's fine. Because from now on, every time Siraj or Sam Dawa interrupts me, I interrupt the Dawa. So until Sam Dawa and Siraj learn some manners, this happens every Sunday in the park.
Come and discuss with me.
You are a liar.
Saraj, please. Saraj.
You are a coward.
How many times will he ignore your request before you call him ignorant? How many times will he ignore your request before you call him ignorant? So I'm ignorant when all I did is stand here in silence and you accused me of a terrorist supporter, but he's ignored your request multiple times, but he's not ignorant.
He's still my brother.
I will leave your patient alone. He's about to be himself.
Notice, they can't even condemn Siraj's rudeness. Siraj is literally the one holding this conversation here because he can't walk away. Right, Siraj is walking away. True to my word, I will now walk away. But I promise you, if Siraj comes back to me, I come back to this brother. Sorry for that. I just needed to show that Siraj was being rude to me because he did this to me earlier. And I did not speak to him until he addressed me and he slandered me. Ask him if he supports Hamas. Hamas is a real terrorist organisation. So,
sister, come. Wait.
So no, yeah, I want to do a talk anyway.
Did you learn it? Or
Right.
Let's do a talking.
Yeah.
Right. So do a quick wrap up of what happened there. Went to the other camera. That was amazing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you could see, Siraj has absolutely no manners. He just forces himself into a conversation, and then my response is to walk to the dawah. I didn't interrupt them until I was addressed directly, and Siraj brings his circus and interrupts the dawah. Unfortunately, you can't reason with someone like Siraj, and so from now on, every time Siraj interrupts me, I'm going to do that. So, Muslims who watch this, if you don't want Siraj to be interrupting your dawah, then come here.